is my sense tonight.
Recently, a senior member of the executive in government advised that doctors lose patients all the time, despite their best efforts. Well, that worried a lot of us. My hope is that this is not the approach that governments take when making decisions or embarking on projects. Because just this week, Parliament rejected in totality the report of the Munavu task force. So let me remind you about this task force. This was the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform. This task force, with a whopping 42 members, was set up by the President in September last year to evaluate the competency-based curriculum and recommend appropriate reforms to other sectors of the education sector. And now, after spending a whopping 237 million shillings or more, Parliament put a stop to the implementation of its recommendations. Now, one can only imagine what this means for parents who've already been battered left and right to begin with the rollout of the CBC, which was turbulent at best. It was actually the very reason for the task force itself. But that's not all. Those in the education sector had already begun implementing the far-reaching recommendations made by this task force. These include the university's funding model, domiciling of junior secondary, the reduction of subjects under CBC, and exam grading. In fact, you remember the new university's funding model that was rolled out to much fanfare, as well as apprehension due to the rush ahead of the start of the new academic year at universities. You remember the mad rush to understand who was needy, who was less needy when applying for the university funding? The jamming of the portal with just a few days to go to the start of the new year at universities. But wait, there is one problem. They forgot one step. One very important step: the law. The Ministry of Education is only now drafting the sessional paper that is to be taken to Parliament that would form new laws to create the master plan for the education system. What's more, we're now hearing that the teachers' employer TSC raising a raft of issues that they say were not considered by the committee. Issues that they say interfere with their mandate as the teachers' employer. Now, I don't know about you, but this must be yet another exhausting sigh for parents and teachers and learners who have had to deal with the implementation of this curriculum. Kenyans who have had to deal with this being an election campaign issue, with a statement, you will remember, that it would be scrapped once they got into power, and then a walk back on the same, and then finally a promise of re-evaluating it to address all the issues that have been raised by all stakeholders. Then the task force, then its recommendations, only for it to all come to a screeching halt with just one word from Parliament: no, not so fast. Now, how is it that the Ministry of Education chose to shoot first, only to be told later that they needed to have aimed first? Now, these may seem like technicalities, session paper here, laws and policies there, but this has a real effect on the lives of young learners. There should be no mistakes, no misfirings, no oops, no small or big technicalities. For a 237 million shillings tab and a 42-member committee that then presented its report to the President, this should have been done properly. Much in the same way, new medicines are tested on guinea pigs first before being applied on humans. Much in the same way, astronauts go on flight simulations here on Earth before actually going into space. Is the same approach we should take with education in our country. It is my hope that these so-called technicalities will be sorted out. Let's not use the children of Kenya as guinea pigs. That's my take tonight.